Good afternoon, Year 10, and welcome back to our virtual school for summer term 1. It's Miss Dooner here, your ASL, and yeah, just wanted to say a big welcome back. You've now done one full day of summer term 1, so I've got a couple of thinking points for you. How did you epitomise our motto in the Easter holidays? So thinking about no limits. Did you push yourself in the Easter holidays? I know lots of you were doing different exercise challenges. Some of you dyed your hair mad colours. But even some of you, I know it took a lot just for you to switch off and to just do nothing. So I'd love to hear about what you got up to. But also, how has your first full day back been? You've now been back on the virtual school for just over a day. Loads of you logging on, loads of you doing brilliant work. How has it gone? Has it been a bit of a shock, like it always is after we come back after a half term? Have you liked coming back on and seeing and speaking to your friends and your teachers? So we're glad to have you back. With that in mind, we are obviously Year 10 and we are now looking ahead, going forward to what's coming up. And this is your last term of Year 10 before you begin Year 11. And as Miss Pritchard has said, our exams are looming now. So it is officially 384 days until your GCSEs begin. So the number is getting a lot smaller, isn't it? I remember it was at 500 not long ago, and now we're at 384 already. So I thought today, as we've only just come back, and I've got a chance not just to kind of celebrate things, but a chance to look at supporting you with this and supporting you with your GCSEs and supporting you with those exams, especially while annoyingly we are all at home. But there are so many things that you can do, and I wanted to share with you something that I've found to be really helpful when I'm revising, especially when I'm working independently at home. Some of you may know this. It's called Cornell Note taking. You may have heard of it, you may have seen it. I know a lot of those like YouTube and Insta famous study people use it. It's called sometimes the Cornell method. It might be called different things, but essentially it is a method of taking notes. Now I am going to show you in a minute a video of me modelling this, but this is just kind of a broad diagram of what it involves. It's just a way for you to make notes, essentially. It's nothing out of the ordinary. It's just a way, really, of laying out your book so that you can make the most effective notes possible. So as you can see, you kind of split your page up into a shape that looks like a capital I skewed to the side, and it creates 4 different sections for you. You've got a bit at the top which can be your title, and then you've got the bit shaded in pink on the first picture of notes, which is where you pop all your notes down. That might be from your knowledge book, that might be from a YouTube video you watch. You then have space next to the notes to make a note of any keywords that stand out to you, any vocab, any comments or any questions. And then at the bottom is where you come back to those notes, maybe the day later, a week later, and you summarise what you've learned. So this is the Cornell note-taking method. On the next slide now, I'm going to show you a short video of me setting my book up in this method and how I would use it. So hopefully that helps. See what you think. So I've got my blank notebook, or you could use a blank piece of paper, whatever you like, and I'm going to start laying it out now in the Cornell Notes method. So to start off with then, I'm going to create the area for the title. Sorry, I don't have a ruler, I'm being naughty. So this is going to be the title. My notebook has a little section already, but if yours doesn't, you just make it kind of that big, kind of about an inch thick if you can. We now need to make kind of the note section, so I'm going to draw a line down here. You'll see that this line is about the same as the top, so this is creating like a margin like what you have in maths. And now I'm going to make the note section at the bottom. Now this bit needs to be a bit thicker, so I'm going to double this size probably. On mine I'm going to go for kind of about 8-9 lines, and I'm going to draw it across like so. Now this then is the basic layout of Cornell, so you can see it's kind of like an I, capital I on a slant, and this is how I'd lay it out. So obviously as an English teacher I'm going to pick something to do with English, so we're doing inspector calls at the minute. So say I wanted to do some revision about Sheila, I might start off just by writing the title as her name for now. So I'm going to put Sheila. If this was in maths, you could write trigonometry. If it was in science, it might be that you're looking at different cells. Whatever it is, that would be your title. You could even put your small question here if you wanted to keep it really, really focused. Obviously, this isn't very pretty, but you could also do your cool fonts here as well. I also always write the date, just so I know for my revision what date I did this work on, just in case I ever want to look back. So I write that up there. Okay, so now we've got our title. This would be where we start to apply our knowledge. So anything new that you learn about Sheila, or anything you're kind of revising about Sheila, would go in here. So obviously I don't have the knowledge book right here in front of me, but say I was looking at quotes about Sheila, I might start writing down what the knowledge book says. So when she says to her brother, "You're squiffy," that's quite an important thing. It might be that I'm reading my knowledge book and then it says how she changes, and at the end it says it frightens me the way you talk. And this is where you're just kind of dumping all that knowledge that you're learning. It might be that you see certain words in there, like you might see the word socialist, and other words to describe Sheila, and you'd write all of those in this knowledge section here, everything that you're learning, whether it's new, whether it's revision. So this might go on for quite a few pages. It might be that the lesson you're doing on virtual school is just kind of a short hour-long one, and it might fit in there, and that is where all your knowledge is going to go. Now it's time to turn our attention to this bit. Now this bit, I often get another colour, and this is where, if it was in school, I'd use a green pen. This is where I consolidate that knowledge. So I read what I've written, what maybe Miss has taught me in science, or what I've learnt from the knowledge book in whatever lesson I'm in, whether it's business or PE, and I read it and I consolidate it over here. So by consolidate, I mean I'm absorbing it, and I'm then starting to think about keywords that are standing out to me. I'm starting to notice maybe questions that might arise from it. So just as an example, I wrote down here the quote, "You're squiffy," and then "it frightens me the way you talk." Well, I know that's from Act 1, and I know that's from Act 3, so this shows me Sheila's change. So here I'd write Sheila changes, just so I'm consolidating that knowledge. I can see she's changing as well from kind of someone quite capitalist and judgmental to someone more understanding. Because look at the way she's talking to her brother, "You're squiffy." She's really accusing him, isn't she? But then in the end, she's almost in disbelief that that's how some people think. So it shows a really big change. So this is kind of where you can consolidate things. You might drop some keywords in there, but also it might be that you start having some questions here. So you might look at that and think, hang on a minute, yes, Sheila changes, but why? So you might write that down. Why does she change? Why does she change? And then what you can do with that question is you could find that out yourself. You could go and revise that if you wanted to, or you could go onto Teams and ask your teacher, "Sir, Miss, why does Sheila change?" It might be that you pose that to the class, and then you can start answering it. So there we've got our kind of main key content box, and then we've got our kind of key questions and consolidation box. The final part of Cornell Notes is this last box at the bottom, and this is the most valuable part of it. And actually, this is the part you'll probably not use for in some cases, weeks, in other cases, months, or it might be that you choose to do it a bit sooner and do it a few days after. So say you've just done your lesson, say it's a Tuesday, double English, you've learnt about Sheila, you've written all your notes here, you've thought about maybe some key questions and things like that. Then what the best thing to do is to leave it, to put it to one side, and then to go about your other lessons, to go to science, to go to maths, whatever you've got next. And then a few days later, maybe with your next literature lesson, maybe just before you log on, maybe when you're doing your recall quiz, this box here, as it says, is your summary. And this is where you would read through all of your notes that you've made, all of your consolidation questions, and summarise what you've learnt from them. So just to show you what that might look like, a few days later, a few weeks later, I've gone back to my notes and I've read through it, and
it's made me remember everything that I learned that day, and it's made me able then to summarise it really concisely at the bottom. So Sheila is a character who is initially materialistic and judgmental. However, she changes to become a young woman who is more understanding and even has socialist tendencies. So this is the most valuable section in my opinion, but it's only valuable if you leave it a little bit and always come back to it. And this is what revision is. You're bringing all of this understanding back to the forefront of your mind. So it might be that you can do this for all of your subjects. You can keep this revision ticking over, but definitely this method really helps.
Okay, so that was my attempt to very quickly show you how you might use the Cornell note-taking method, and I just wanted to share with you 2 examples of the nearly finished product. I've said nearly because obviously the summary sections for these students is left blank, and I'm sure you can see now why that is. So these students completed some Inspector Calls revision on Inspector Gould, and as you can see, they've got their title at the top, they've even put a small question. They've put the notes and any quotations. What I like about these is they've also included pictures, or the one on the right certainly has, and that's really helping that student understand the work, process it better, and it will bring it into their memory a lot quicker with those pictures. So that's a really good tip. You can see the keywords they've put in. As you can see, the one on the left has used a different colour pen and green to reflect. Now obviously the summary is left blank, and you should know by now that that's because these students had just completed this lesson, and they would, I imagine now while they're at home, be going back and summarising what they learned through these notes. So don't forget that we are all here to support you with your revision, and also pastorally as well. We've got the Year 10 Aldersley Students Teams page. I know some of you go on there, but lots of you, I'm not sure if you're even aware it's there. Please do have a little look on there. We post things daily, even hourly sometimes, and you are definitely missing out on Miss Thompson's song choices, which come through to motivate us all day. And our emails are there as well. Don't forget, you can email me or Miss Thompson at any point if you need any support, or you've got any questions or any queries or anything. Please do get in touch. We are here, we're on our laptops 8:30 till 4 every day, so we can support you. So I will finish off there. Just to think and finish off then, when could you try out the Cornell Notes method? I'd love to see you using it. If you want to tweet me some pictures on the @AHS Year 10 Twitter account, I'd love to see if it's helpful for you, any feedback, if you like it. So please do let me know. But also thinking especially about that kind of consolidation column, what questions could you ask in your lessons to challenge yourself further? Are you kind of one of those silent assassins that sit in the Microsoft Teams lesson completing everything really well, which we appreciate? But could you maybe ask a question of the teacher? Could you challenge yourself? Maybe if you see someone's asked a question in the chat, could you pose an answer for them? So if your teachers allow that function on your classes, maybe give it a go this week and see if you could challenge yourself even further. So with that, I will say goodbye. I hope you have an amazing rest of the week, and I will see you very soon.